Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Night Football Major Money. And today we have a matchup between the Minnesota Vikings and the Indianapolis Colts. Now, honestly, I do not think this is going to be a good game, but I do think there are some pretty solid props available today because I think there are going to be a lot of yards, specifically by, the Vikings. I think they actually will roll over today. And I think because of that, the Colts will be trying to keep up with, yes, Joe Flacco, who is a lot better than Anthony Richardson. So I think they will be a lot better in the passing game. But overall, I still do not think the Colts can keep up with the Vikings. So with that, before we choose our three squares for today, we're going to mention our new member offer that we always have to mention. Play $5, get $50 instantly if you use the code 5. That's FIVE. And as always, I will tweet out my picks with a link to where you don't even have to type that in. All you have to do is click the link, and then you get that new member offer of playing $5, get $50 instantly. Now, without further ado, we're going to look at some of the props available. And, obviously it's one game, and so some of them are going to be more common than others. But I think it's interesting that Joe Flacco, his past touchdowns, Demon is only at 1.5, and then two, that it is also the second most popular play for this game, which is crazy to me. If you're not familiar, demons, they get you a better payout. So for example, if you played this with this demon, with the Justin Jefferson square, $20 would win $65. But if you replace that with just a normal one, it would win $60. So you do get a little bit extra value there. But obviously, it is a little bit harder to hit. Now, if you see anywhere, here we go. You have Will Reichard hitting 1.5 field goals for the Minnesota Vikings. That is a goblin. So that means it's a little bit easier to hit, but the payout is not as good. You can see that would only give you 50. Now, sometimes if you pair them up together, look, that's back up to just the normal squares. If you would just have two normal squares. If you did the demon and goblin together, see, that's 60. And then right here, a goblin on the field goal kicks, and then pass TDs, that's 60 as well. So that's on, you get one a little bit easier, one a little bit harder if you have a lot of faith in the Joe Flacco, and there's really nothing else that you can find that you like. You can try combining them, but I mean, I don't know if that's the best thing to do. You kind of lose the whole point of doing the demon if you combine it with a goblin, because you get not near as good value. But what I'm going to do, I'm not going to play Joe Flacco. I think that's going to be very hit or miss. I don't trust exactly how that's going to go. I am going to go to receiving yards, though, and I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings tight end TJ Hawkinson. I think the Vikings are just a very good team. Now, I don't think they're like show-stopping like they seem to be earlier in the year, but I still think they're going to be able to move the ball awfully well. And TJ Hawkinson is pretty consistently involved in the passing game when he is healthy. So I'm just going to roll out that he's going to basically go back and just be the same tight end that he is. I think the Vikings are going to have a pretty easy game plan of what to do. And I think TJ Hawkinson will get several opportunities, and all he has to do is hit 40 yards. And as you could see in the last 5 games he played, 58, 63, 53, 50, 55. He is always over this number. Like I said, that's if he's healthy. And yes, that was with, Kirk Cousins, who I think a lot of people are starting to realize Kirk Cousins can put up a lot of stats. But Sam Darnold has been pretty solid as well. And I think TJ Hawkinson will just seamlessly transition. I think he's one of those tight ends that no matter what, no matter how long he's been gone, if he is on the field, he is going to make an impact. So I'm going TJ Hawkinson over 39 and a half receiving yards. Now, because I think the Vikings are going to put up a good number of points, I do think there is going to be some value on going Jonathan Taylor rush and reception yards. Now, when I was looking at this earlier, it was at 89 and a half. It has gone all the way up to 93 and a half. That's gone up 4 yards. So it seems like a lot of other people are on this as well. But I still like it. I'm going 93 and a half. You can see he hits this very consistently. And since I'm not going as rushing yards, since I do think, like I said, they're going to have to pass and they're going to try to keep up. And with Joe Flacco, I actually trust TJ Hawkinson just was removed. They saw I was handing out the value and handing out a good pick, and they had to take it. But since I had already mentioned it, I am claiming that pick for my major money. So we're going Jonathan Taylor, 93 and a half rush and reception yards. We're going more on that because I think they're going to have to play catch up. I think they're going to have to throw a couple screens, and that is going to be how they're getting Jonathan Taylor into the game, not just by running. Because once you go down, it is a little bit harder just to continually run the ball. So I think Jonathan Taylor has good value there. Just for sake, his receiving prop is 16 and a half. I almost chose this one, but I wanted to hedge in case he breaks off a couple big runs. And his rush yards, let's see, do they take it away? They have 49 and a half Goblin, 99 and a half Demon. They took away his standard square. You can do more options for Goblins and Demons, 59 and a half, 89 and a half. So there is a lot of opportunity to do there. Here it is. I just scrolled past it, 74. So you're basically at that same exact number for rush yards and receiving yards as combining them. So not value in that instance, but once again, I think it's a good hedge. Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in the NFL. He's going to get his rush yards, but I think he's going to be involved in the passing yards as well. Then we're going to go receiving yards, and this is because Joe Flacco's in. Josh Downs, he has hit 3 of the last 5. One of them, he was literally at 66 yards, and we're playing 66 and a half over. With Joe Flacco, though, with a lot better passing, Josh Downs is their number one receiver. And not to sound like a broken record, even though I definitely am a broken record and my thought process is very similar on a lot of these picks, I think there's going to be a lot of passes. I think Joe Flacco is going to throw a lot of passes, and they're also going to attempt to try to move the ball downfield, which Josh Downs can do that as well. I think this is good value for Josh Downs, the number one Colts receiver, and kind of people are realizing how talented he is. Me being a North Carolina fan, I watched him all those years at North Carolina, and I understand what he can do once he gets the ball. He can take a slant and make that a big play, and people are seeing that now, especially in the games Joe Flacco has been playing, because he gets more opportunities to get the ball with good timely passes. So I like this over of 66 and a half receiving yards, and that is going to be my third pick. So going back over it, 66 and a half receiving yards for Josh Downs. We're going receptions and rush yards, 93 and a half for Jonathan Taylor. And then TJ Hawkinson. It said it got taken off. Let's see if it got added back. It got it added back in the nick of time. 39 and a half receiving yards. If you pair all 3 of these together, it's not showing us here, but if you play the flex pick, so where you only 2 have to hit, if all 3 hit, you would get $45. But if you play the straight power pick where all 3 do have to hit to get any type of payout, it would be a 5x. So you would pay off $100 there. So with that, as always, let's enjoy this Sunday night football game. Let's steal some money from Prize Picks, and let's continue our at least winning days. So going 2-1 is what we consider winning days, getting a positive record. Let's continue that. and let's all have a good night.